Hi friends, my name is Dylan. If this is your first time in my channel, thank you so much for hanging out with me. So this channel is about my certification journey from I started out the CCNA and now gunning for my CCIE and all other certification IT related. If you have subscribed, thank you so much for sticking around, bearing my ranting, and let me give you an update where I'm at now, and a couple of it's storytelling time. So let's get on with this intro first. Okay, so just a couple of announcements. So the first announcement is for my subscriber. I think I've announced it a couple of blogs ago that I will be coming up with a Filipino YouTube channel, which I will post the link down below. So the channel, it's for my Filipino subscriber. So if you understand Filipino, that's all fine as well. Who knows, I might put like subtitle in my future videos, but the channel is in Filipino, and the channel is about, lifestyle, health, and wealth, and tutorials, and maybe in Cisco tutorials in Filipinos. And yeah, like I said, the link will be down below. I've already posted a couple of videos there. So far it's been about the salary of what is the expected salary of an IT professional for, if you plan to migrate here or you're already living here in Australia. So just to give you an expectation, and there's also about something about finances. How does my family get to, how do we get to travel and at the same time save, and now we get to own the house. So just giving you tips and tricks on how we are doing that, considering living here in Australia, it's not that cheap. The next one is, yes, speaking of the CCIE, I have started again, going through all the materials again, going back to my INE, all those labs, all those NARBIC. The goal is to do the written exam again, hopefully by the end of the year. So there's a reason for that. You might be asking, Dylan, how come it's taking a while for you, considering that you've already done the lab and you've done the written and you've just recertified for the CCNP? Yes, I get that. But this has something to do with my third announcement, which is I'm starting a new role. I am heading back to the ISP space. That's why I had this time to finally get to sit down during the daytime, me here in the house. And I have 2 days off before I start with the new role. I'm back in the ISP space. So if you have been following me, or if you've seen a previous video, or if you're new to the channel, so I used to work for an ISP that's based on the Gold Coast. Then I moved to an MSP space slash consultancy where I do pre-sales, doing all those pre-sales document, detailed design, then implementing it. And so yeah, so from ISP to MSP, and now I'm about to start a new role, going back to the ISP space, as a pre-sales engineer slash a solution architect. Exciting times, to be honest. So with that, to be honest, the pre-sales role, so for the last couple of years I have been, it's more on the technical side. That was like the driving force why I'm getting myself into certification and getting all this training. is because my background is really into engineering and doing the pre-sales. Yes, there will be engineering there, but it's on a different level, let's just say. And maybe I'll come up with a blog, like why did I decide to head in that direction. But anyway, before I move on, if you're new to the channel, make sure that if you like the content, if you browse around my videos, click that subscribe button. You also have the option to click on that bell button, which is here, so you can get the latest updates if I do post a video. Again, you can also subscribe to my other channel with the link down below, which is in Filipino about it, as much as possible. That's a non-technical, but more on the practical side, and like I said, lifestyle, health, wealth, and all other things. Okay, so if you like this video, leave a like. If you have questions, or if you want me to come up with other videos, you can just leave a comment. Okay, it's story time. Okay, so the reason I'm making this video is because I want to share a story with you guys. This happened years ago, like many years ago. It's about, I was given a task. So let me just first give a background history. So I have the certification that was not really rare, but it just gave me the company trusted me to actually do the firmware upgrade or update or upgrade, doesn't matter, to this stack switch in a data center, in a POP. And it was a privilege for me, considering that I was new to the organization. And they told me, Dylan, we need to upgrade this top of rack switch. Back then, the way it was designed before, so this POP is connected to other POPs, obviously, and the routers and the core switches, before they reach those devices, it's connected directly to this top of rack switch. It has changed since then, so just letting you know. But back then, everything connects first to this top of rack switch before it connects to the core switch and to the core router. And this was in a data center in Sydney, which is like one of the major hub of this network that I used to work with. Then, alright, so I did prepare for it. So what I did was I wrote out a plan. Okay, so this is step 1 to, let's say, step 1 to 5, or step 1 to 8. So let's put it up to 8. Then, we've released the planned outage to the customer, saying that between midnight and 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, you experience an outage, blah blah blah, and it was all good, right? So at the night of the cutover, so I did it from home. Actually, I did it here, because it can be done remotely. So I did it with this computer. So I had all my plan laid out. I even have like a backup link to the OOB, to the out of band network, via dial-up. So I had my laptop outside this room. So I have like a backup connection. And so it started, and I always get excited whenever I'm doing something like this, or whenever I have a cutover, no matter how simple it is, I always get excited about it, because it's, I don't know, maybe it's just me. So as I was doing it, everything was like smooth flowing. So I got into step 3, and and step 3 requires you to wait. So it's gonna take a while to do the upgrade. So while I was waiting, and I think the wait was 15 minutes, I look at my list and I told myself, you know what? I could probably do step 5. So skip step 4 and instead do step 5 first, then go back to step 4. To be honest, I don't remember what exactly the steps were, but that's the gist of it. So I was waiting, I was already on step 3. Then while I was waiting, instead of wait for it, do step 4, then do step 5, but instead I immediately jumped into step 5. So I did step 5 and something happened. What happened was I cut myself off. I locked myself off the top of rack switch, which in effect cut connection to the entire pop. So I think I don't remember exactly what happened. The stack, I think, unstacked itself and lost connectivity, and let's just say the phone started ringing. I don't want to get in too much details on what exactly happened, with the link, but I have caused an outage beyond what was actually planned, which in effect I brought down all the customers in the New South Wales region. And it's a big deal because, if you're not familiar with Australia, or if you're from Australia, majority of the businesses are majority of it is in Sydney, and secondary would be Melbourne, and they're close to each other. And yeah, I have like an RDP session on my office computer, and I can see the phone ringing non-stop, and obviously I panicked. The phone started ringing. I started getting all these text messages from our monitoring system. I'm getting this page from my boss asking me what has happened, and it was chaos. So you know the feeling, once you get into that panic mode, you stop, like you just go blank. And I put the computer on mute so I could stop hearing the phone. I put my phone away, and to be honest, I went to the toilet and just spent probably like 3 minutes to 5 minutes just to calm my brain, because I feel like the more I subject myself to all these noise, all the more I couldn't think. And I was telling myself, Dylan, you can do this, you can unstuck yourself. Got out of the toilet, and I checked my phone, and I saw the message from my boss saying, Dylan, go to plan B, ask the data center to like install, and you would just have to do everything from scratch, because we have like backup configs. And instead of doing that, what I did was, actually I don't remember what I did. I think I remembered I have the backup link on the OOB, as I was mentioning earlier, which is consoled into the 2 switches, and I did my troubleshooting. Then eventually I was able to stack back the 2 switches and perform the upgrade, and eventually things went back online. And this happened, so obviously this took more time compared compared to the plant outage that we sent out to the customer. But in the end, we were able to upgrade the firmware. At the same time, we were able to bring the links back online, so everything was happy. Well, actually, obviously, I have to go to work the following morning. So, and I was there, and I had to face the music. But anyway, so yeah, so I am just so blessed that I didn't get fired from that job. Because I'm pretty sure in like some companies, if you screwed up like that, and that's goodbye for you, because it was really a big screw up. But anyway, so I'm not telling this story to you to impress you, obviously, because it was really a dumb thing to do. So I'm telling you this because I want to share with you like the lessons that I've learned from that experience, which hopefully you can learn from my mistakes too, and how we can translate this to normal everyday life, regardless if this has something to do with your career or with your, with your certification journey. So lesson number one that I've learned is, if you mess up, some people even prevent themselves, some people stop themselves from doing the big things because they're so afraid of messing up. So that's one of the things that I realized in that point. Like this, I could have stopped after that mess up. That should have ended my career, maybe, or that would have stopped me from, being bold with my actions, with my decisions. Actually, all the more that I became bolder and braver with the things that I'm doing. By the way, this actually happened even before I started my CCIE journey. So that's what I wanted to share. So tip number one is just go for it. It's inevitable. You will mess up. You will fail. I remember a time back when I was training, guys, when I was managing a knock team. One of the guys there was, I don't know how to do this. This is my first time to do it. But I've already given you the training. But how will I do this? He keeps on saying, he had this mental block that he keeps on saying that how will I do this when I haven't done this before? And I asked him, I told him, think about it. Not, you're just going to wake up and just realize, hey, I'm a great network engineer. Everybody starts somewhere. So that's my point here. You will mess up, and don't get that in the way from you doing great things. So another lesson that I've learned is, if you mess up, which you will if you intend to do great things, if you mess up, be responsible for it. Don't make excuses. Like I could have easily lied. I could have easily said there was a bug in the system, or if you weren't able to finish a job, you could easily say, well, I didn't have the time to do it. So, which reminds me of another story from yesterday. Somebody volunteered to do this job for me. He ended up coming back saying, I didn't have the time to do it. So, and I was like, well, but anyway, that's another story. So, like I said, if you mess up, be responsible. Don't make excuses. Just face the music. So back then, to be honest, I was ready. I was ready. I thought I will be sacked the moment I got into the office. I knew the damage that it caused, and what we had to give to the customer to repay the damage that was caused to them. um, Lesson number three for me is in lesson number three that I want to share with you guys is, if you mess it up, do what is right. You know, correct it, make up for it. So going back to my story, I could have done plan B, which is also the right thing to do. Or, or just like what I did, I went for it. I just needed the quiet time, focus, and everything came back as normal. Or in another way to look at it is, if you mess up, make a way to, to make up for it. Like, for example, for me, I was like really grateful, as I've been saying. I was really grateful that they didn't let me go. I actually stayed on for a couple of more years. And I made up. And all right, so lesson number four, I think, which is the number one lesson, to be honest, if we're just talking about that story, is follow the process. Obviously. So in that story, if you remember, right, I skipped step 4 and instead I went to step 5. If I just been, you know, if I just followed my own step, if I didn't jump a hoop, everything would have been perfect. And that really for me was that it did not only teach me about that certain moment about not following the step, it taught me a lot of things in life. Do not skip from A to Z, but make sure you go from A to B to C to, don't buy into this applies to life, wherein people would tell you there's actually a shortcut for you to get from A to Z or A to G, jump the hoops. No, there's just no way of doing that. You just need to put in the work. That's what I notice with a lot of people. We always look up to, like, so let's say in sports, right? We always look at the LeBron James, the Michael Jordans, or the Stephen Curry, but we don't watch the times that they would miss, or they would get into an injury, or they would fumble. And we always like watching the highlights. So, but what these players did, and all the other successful did in their career, is they went through step by step by step by step. Like Stephen Curry, he would always do the drills, he would always show up. It's a process. So if we go into certification, I'm gonna hit on that again about using, you study for your cert. Do not take the shortcut, because if you take the shortcut, I am telling you, it will bite you in the butt eventually. So yeah, follow the process. And the last tip I will give you is, well, not the tip, but what I've learned from this experience is, if you mess up, you learn from it. Go What I did actually, after everything has settled, I keep a diary. So in that diary, I was writing down what I did wrong, which led to all these tips that I'm giving you. What worked, what didn't work, and in life, if you mess up, go ask yourself, what have you learned from it, and what are the adjustments that you are going to do for it not to happen again. It may happen again, but it may not be as bad as how it happened before. You know, if you learn from it. Anyway, so like I said, I'm not telling you this story to impress on you, but to share with you like the what I've learned from this event that happened in my life. In fact, thinking about it, if that thing didn't happen the way I look at it, I would have not been to where I am right now. I would have not been a NOC manager. I would have not been working with companies like in the mining industry, in the oil and energy, and I would have not been going into this new position, doing pre-sales. I would have not taken the CCIE lab. I wouldn't even be in front of you if it weren't for the stuff ups that I've done in the past. So in saying that, I'm gonna end this video right here. Like I said, leave a like button if you find this, if you like the video, and subscribe if you're new. So I'm gonna end it here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me till the end of this video, and remember guys, keep on studying. It's all worth it. Bye.